The last thing that we want to work on for an ellipse is reversing this process. Now we're given some parts, and instead of graphing it or drawing the ellipse, we want to write the equation of ellipse. So you can see in this example problem we're asked to write the equation of ellipse, and we're given a center point, and we're given the vertices and the co-vertices. Now sometimes knowing what equation to write, whether it's horizontal or vertical, can be challenging just by looking at this given information, but sometimes drawing it can help you see that. Now you can recognize this, that the vertices should always be the bigger number, and so in this case, since the vertices is representing the y value of a point, that means that the a value or the major value should go underneath the y squared. And you can see by graphing this that this makes a major axis along the y-axis, and so we know that the vertices should go under the y squared part. So we can always start very simply. If we know it's at a center point 0, 0, you can always start with x squared and y squared and equaling to 1, and then it's just a matter of knowing what to put underneath each part. So you can see here that the co-vertices represents the x, and so we need to take those values. Now the vertex is always represented by an a, so if a equals to 7, a squared has to equal to 49, so that's going to be the value that goes underneath the y squared. And of course you can see the negative 6 is representing the b, and of course if we did negative 6 squared we'd get a positive 36, and that's where the equation came from. So this is pretty straightforward. So you can do a couple things. You can either identify which one's representing the x and the y, or you can simply draw the ellipse if it helps you. Either way is fine if it helps you write the equation of the ellipse in standard form. So make sure that your final answer is in standard form. So we will now try one on our own. So you can take a look at sample problem number 2. So go ahead and look at the given information. If you need to sketch the ellipse to help you, you can. If not, if you feel comfortable just by identifying the vertices and the co-vertices, go ahead and try it that way as well. Okay? Alright, I'm going to go ahead and show it both ways. So in this case I have a vertex of 0, 5, so it's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Keep in mind, if I have a vertex at 0, 5, I have to have one at the opposite as well. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, so I have to have one down at negative 5. And a co-vertex at 4, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then of course the opposite. And then I can just do the best that I can to sketch the ellipse. Now, sometimes it's not always clear, but we know that 5 is bigger than 4, so that is representing our major axis. And so we know that our standard form equation is going to be x squared and y squared, and all that's going to equal to 1, and we need to come up with the values underneath. In this case, the 5 is representing a y, and we know that our underneath value is simply 5 squared. In this case, the co-vertices, the 4, the smaller number, is representing an x value, so we're going to do 4 squared underneath that. And our final standard form will simply be to condense the 4 squared and the 5 squared. And that's all it would take. So that is writing the equation of ellipse given certain parts. Now keep in mind, we could give you foci, we could give you length of major axis and minor axis, we could give you a different center point. All these different parts could change, and that would change the way you would approach writing the equation. But this is the most basic way. So take some time to learn how to do this. Make sure you know how to do this before the assessment.